Okay. Welcome to Chattoos. That was. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to say that. Right. Should we try again?
We join in.
Jeez, this is hard work, isn't it?
We like tattoos. We hope that you do too. But if you don't, then that's okay. We'll all still have fun anyway. It's the Tattoo Show with a twist. We do lots of silly things. So grab a cold drink or a brew. Roll up a pew. Welcome to Chattoos.
Welcome to Chattoos. I'm Mark Hardy.
And I'm Linda Miner.
And in this bonus special episode, we've got some friends on call. We're going to chat to them about a very specific issue that seems to have come up lately within the tattooing community.
Yes, and that issue is AI, generated imagery.
And on that note, I've brought with me a special little thing. Jason made this for me this week. It's the original AI. It's a little 3D print of Clippy there. So put him down on the table.
What did he used to say? Have you got a problem?
Or he'd say, like, it looks like you're writing a letter.
Let me do everything.
Try and it wasn't very good.
No.
Which is the point, because now AI has actually got a lot better.
Yeah.
And we're starting to find it creeping into pretty much every area of our lives, including tattooing. So here we are.
So today we've got Joshua Ewers. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ewers.
Ewers, yes. Josh is a traditional artist. Where are you coming from?
From Warsaw, work at Good Egg Tattoo.
All right.
Got it.
And then we've got Brandon Ward.
Hi, yeah, Brandon from Electric Workshop in Peterborough.
Nice.
Black and grey artist. Great person to meet at tattoo shows. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so we're talking about AI in general. We'll start off with a video that just blew up overnight.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I did see it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
In fact, I think I sent it to you when I saw it.
You probably did, I always get sent stuff and I just scroll past it usually.
There's a lot of stuff to see in there.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff to see. But it spiked a bit of controversy in the tattoo community.
Mm-hmm.
There was a giant fence that erected from the middle of the earth, and there were people on one side, people on the other. So it was AI versus...
This is a figurative fence, right? It wasn't actually a fence erected in the middle.
I don't know. I've not been asked.
Maybe.
But on the other side were people that are like traditional artists who love to draw. Everything about tattooing to them is purely from, I draw, I put it on your body, and that's it. I will not use any help or AI or anything like that. So today, Josh was the individual that made the video. So do you want to talk about the video and why you wanted to do it?
Well, let's take a quick look at it first.
Yep.
So basically, I never planned on going to the convention and making a video. I knew that I would go there and probably see some AI stuff, but I was genuinely shocked at how much there was. Because when I first went to a convention 7 years ago, I haven't been to one since, I was excited to go. Because when I was a new baby tattoo artist, I saw so much stuff that inspired me massively. Amazing artists everywhere. And there was only amazing artists and great stuff. And then when I went to this one, I was like, oh, this is cool. I was like, oh, is that a giant AI poster? I was like, oh. And I was like, okay, maybe one. And there was another one. And there was another one. And then they just kept going. People were selling actual prints, just AI generated prints. And at that point, it's just becoming like Temu. And I think I never planned on making a video. I just recorded a few things on my story. And then at the end of the day, I looked through, I was like, whoa, there's loads. And I just clicked save story, posted, and then kind of just left it. And then I came back and it already had like 50,000 views, which doesn't happen a lot on my Instagram. My Instagram's been dead for years. I think a lot of people's has. I used to get like 200,000 views of video all the time. That's why I have so many followers, because 5 years ago, everyone was watching my little drawing videos and stuff. And this one just randomly blew up out of nowhere. But it blew up in a different way because everyone was commenting on it. People were sharing it. People I've respected for years, were putting it on their stories, and everyone was resonating. And for the first, I'd say 200,000 views, I had messages, only 2 negative messages. And I'd say around about almost 200 positive replies. And I've still got probably about 120 people I need to reply to from that video. And there's only been a few, like the odd few, that have been negative. And I think that's why.
I was just going to say, it is very, very disheartening, the fact that you did it for your own reasons. There's many different ways you could have done that.
Oh,
Now,
definitely.
obviously, we'll bring in Brad in a minute. But
Yeah.
what we want to say is basically that the video got the attention of everyone, both sides of that fence, as we were talking about. But your intentions were, you know, like, you put the video up, but you did it as like kind of you were frustrated. You posted a quick video, but then it turned into something that was sour for you. Like you said, you know, we've talked about this, and you said it was quite sour, the fact that you've got built a sort of like an exposure off this negative video.
Right. So I was talking with Lyndon about this. We've obviously seen the video. We're talking about setting up this little chat. And I have an overview of the whole idea of AI, which is that it's the latest in a long line of technological developments, which we see. And, you know, you can trace this back in tattooing, back to the early days of soldering your own needles onto bars and mixing your own pigments, making your own machines. Go back to that. And there was, you know, I've been in the industry for 19, 20 years now. And I remember as I was coming in, there were people that were talking about, if you don't solder your own needles, if you don't make your own machines, if you don't mix your own pigments, then you're not a proper tattooist. And so we were hearing that then. I remember 10 years or so ago, as iPad Pros were coming in, and there were people talking about, oh, this is cheating because, you know, you're using this and it's just reducing the real drawing on paper work of an artist. And of course, almost everyone uses one now. And I think this is indicative, if you look beyond the world of tattooing, just of the march of progress. So what happens is, there was a time, I kind of mentioned this yesterday, didn't I? There was a time where you hand washed your clothes. Now we use washing machines, or most of us do anyway. I know Lyndon washes his clothes in the sink, but most of us use washing machines. But there was probably a time where there was a little bit of a kickback to that. It was almost like you're not doing it properly if you're not doing it this way. And I think there's an element of this conversation that revolves around trying to get our heads around new technology and the change to what that means. The truth is that AI isn't going away. So however we feel about it, it is going to become more and more a part of our everyday lives. I'm not just talking about tattooing, but within every area of our lives. You know, we have to accept that that's happening. And there's other concerns aside from tattooing with that, sort of ecological concerns, that, you know, the effect that that'll have on the environment, the effect of even going back to science fiction sort of stuff of, you know, was it Asimov's model about the robots with AI, the dangers of allowing artificial intelligence to have control over weaponry, which we're starting to see anyway within the military.
Well, the interesting fact, I saw something either on the news, could be fake news, Facebook or whatever I found it on, but it was saying that an AI couldn't do something, so it created a new AI to do it for it.
Right.
And it was something to do with the military, which is pretty scary. But
yeah, and
whether
that's
it's true or not, that idea.
So the only reason I mention that really is that, you know, far beyond the realm of tattooing, we've got to work through this relationship that we have with technology, with intelligence. You know, there's always a joke that as you get to a certain age, you start to need the younger generation to teach you how to use the technology, because, you know, it constantly changes and we have to somehow work out how this fits into our lives in general, specifically for us within the tattoo industry, how it affects what we're doing with tattooing, what areas we can use it in, what areas it'll make our lives better and simpler, and in what areas potentially it takes away from the artistry of what we're doing. And everyone has to find their own fit with that, I think.
Yeah, so obviously the reason I've got the lads involved today is, as we know, Josh Ewers Tattoo did the video. Now, there was a person in that video who was spoken up, and that is Ward Draws, aka Brandon. So Brandon and me have talked in the past couple of days about it, and he wants to talk on, the situation, his banner, and everything that he thinks about AI and sort of designs and the way it's going forward. So Brandon, do you want to crack on with that?
Yeah. So I only want to speak from my perspective and from my opinions. I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone else. I want to start off by saying I completely agree that using AI to create your entire banner or your business cards or your prints or your designs, in my opinion, that is completely lazy and it does lack creativity and it does take the fun out of it. However, I do think that it can be a great starting point for a bit of creativity as long as it's altered and refined. I think because I'm a realism artist, I need a photorealistic reference for my work. And I think even if I was to use an AI image, I still have to refine it, I still have to alter it, I still have to introduce composition and make that tattoo fit the anatomy correctly, and then it still has to be tattooed as well. I think, like you said, every age of tattooing has new tools. So rotary pens replaced coils, digital iPads replaced paper, and Instagram even replaced word of mouth. So we're constantly evolving and we're introducing new tools. And I think every tattoo style, including traditional, has references it needs to use. So originally it was books and paintings and different materials, whereas realism has always been mainly photos, stock images, and movie stills. However, for decades, artists have been using the exact same references that are available to everyone over and over again. Not only are these the same references, these are the same real life models, people being tattooed on other people, predominantly with the Chicano style. That's that one lady face that's been reproduced over and over again. That woman exists. She's out there being tattooed on a million people's legs. So I would argue that AI, if used correctly, as a tool and not as a replacement, can give you such refined images that cater to your client's expectation and your client's wants and needs. I think it's important to understand that AI can be a detrimental tool for people who use it to replace the artistry, for artists who do not need to draw, for example, no, sorry, for artists who do need to draw, for example, if you're an illustrative artist or if you're a traditional artist, these elements you can draw. Whereas for me, a photorealistic artist, I use references. This doesn't mean I don't draw. Of course I draw. I've been drawing since I was 2 years old. I've been drawing for 25 years and I've been tattooing for 4. Drawing is what I love to do. It's a passion. Whereas tattooing, although it's a passion, it's still a career. If I was to sit there and draw a photorealistic reference every day, I'd never tattoo. I need references and photorealistic references. And AI gives me that versatility and gives me something that is unique to a client. I would argue that a tattoo is the most personal thing a person can have. It's the only thing you take to the grave. You could spend your entire life decorating your house the way you want it, but when you die in 50 years' time, that has nothing to do with you anymore. With a tattoo, you take to the grave. So I would make sure that my tattoos that I give to people are as unique as they can be and personal to you and not replicated. I completely understand that with traditional tattoos, a lot of them are replicated in a specific way and you put your own touch to it. You change the color palette, you change some wording to it, but you pay homage to the tradition of tattoos, hence why it's the traditional tattoo and it's the similar designs. However, if you're so caught up on the traditional way of things, then you also wouldn't be using digital stencils, you wouldn't be using a pen machine or even grey wash. I think if you're introducing new technology, you can't shun people for also using technology that benefits them. But like I say, I do completely agree. I think AI can be lazy and can reduce creativity if it's not used correctly. My argument is not that AI is bad. I think that I don't think the argument is the use of AI, it's against the misuse of AI.
I think that's fair. I think it's always worth remembering that technology can be used in all sorts of ways to help us out. and that's not a bad thing. I think probably a lot of the issue that people have is there's maybe a feeling that people are using it and not being entirely honest about that. And I think, like, just generally within any industry, what we really crave, although we often don't find it, what we really crave is honesty and transparency, and people showing who they really are. And so I think sometimes, I mean, I can only really speak for myself, but I think generally as artists, we tend to have imposter syndrome. It's something that a lot of us creatives struggle with. And so there's almost a feeling of, well, I've used a bit of AI here, but I don't want people to know that. So people kind of are a little bit ashamed of it, especially in these early days of it. So when that gets covered up and the whole thing blows up into something that it was never meant to be, which is that you've been using this thing and you weren't really truthful about that. And I think it's probably beneficial if people are more honest about that.
Yeah, but I want to bring Josh into this. So I would say that big erected fence. I'm literally on the middle of it because I've used AI before. I don't need to tell anyone why I've used AI, but you figure out for yourselves. You can tell between something that's AI generated and something that I've actually drawn, and you've seen it.
Oh yeah,
exactly. So, Josh, you draw. You draw.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why, if you're the face of this now. So we want to see and hear your opinion on the matter. So go.
Yeah. So I think I agree with it was Ward. What was your first name, sir?
Brandon.
Brandon. I agree with everything Brandon said, and well, basically everything. Just a few little intertwining pieces I don't agree with as much. And what I want to say to start with is one of the biggest issues with the banners are, because I saw yours, and I know yours wasn't fully AI, but it had those AI elements. What I saw was only that banner. And the second I saw that, it felt like a don't bother going over there thing to see. And I think it's the issue because your work is ridiculous. I just heard you say you've only been tattooed for like 4 years. Like, screw you a bit for being good after that long.
Thanks.
But like, that's the issue because people are so good and then they've got these AI banners. And I'm like, oh, you must be shit then because why else do you have that? And that's the issue. And I think you've made a really good point with the fact that, like, we've seen so many yawning lions on the same person for years and years and years. It's the same one. He's been dead for years. And it's a good point to make that these AI.
Well, he's cold, Josh.
What did you say?
That was cold, he said.
Oh. But like, the thing is, like you've said, like these AI images, the issue is at the moment is you can tell they're AI. They've got a look to them. They've got at the shop we call it the Paul D look. It's got that weird, uncanny, too many teeth, kind of like a kind of unsettling look. Yeah, a few too many fingers. And I think when it came to the banners, yours was the least egregious by far, but I still blocked it from miles away because I was like, I saw it and I was like, but I did think, is it AI? And then I saw the background, I saw the body, I was like, oh yeah, that's quite clearly AI. And then from represent, can't think of the word. Thinking back on the video, I could have done it completely different for a start, 100%. I could have just been like, yeah, I went to the convention, didn't see some banners I liked. It's a shame there's so much AI there, but it's the sort of thing I sometimes forget. Instagram is a public platform. It hasn't been that public for me over the past year because my post reached like 200 people. So I thought, oh, maybe a few people will see it, and it blew up. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But with AI, I think in the style you do, I can understand how it will work really well for you, and that sort of thing. But I think when it comes to a banner, I think you're too good for that banner. I think you're too talented to have a banner that makes it look like you're not. I think the picture of you, just you in your robe, that's sick. You still got a good body. You don't need to be that muscly.
All right.
Just this. But that's the thing. My biggest issue is when I see someone who's a traditional artist and they've got an AI generated image. You can draw that. You're not going to spend for one thing. You're not going to spend 14 hours drawing this brand new thing for one booking. It doesn't make sense. But when someone does a traditional panther and they've AI generated it and they've slapped it on someone without a care in the world, didn't tell their client, I think you're a bit of a cunt if you do that. And that's my issue with it. And everything you said, I agree with. And I do regret putting the video up the way I did. I don't disagree with what I said, but I regret the way I did it because I think it did start a bit of a witch hunt, which I didn't want. But in back of my mind, I probably knew that could potentially happen. But
yeah, I mean, I think this really exposes something that I would say is really at the heart of this, which is that I feel we should, as a community, be building each other up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I totally hear what you're saying, Josh. I think I've certainly been guilty of that in the past. I don't want to say everyone has, but of not realizing that what you're doing or saying could potentially have repercussions that you've not thought about, right?
100%.
Think before you speak.
Basically, I think that's the heart of this, because the point that I made earlier on was AI is coming for us. Like it's infiltrating every area of our lives. We're going to see it more and more in tattooing. You touched on this, Josh. It's going to get better. It's going to get less 20 fingersy. So we're going to see an improvement of that, which is going to be a benefit. There are people who use it really well without, sort of disrespect to their clients. There's going to be people who will use it disrespectfully. And where we all come to land on that, how we feel about it, is going to be different for each of us, just like it is with pretty much every area of our lives, like whether it's tattoo related or not. We're all going to feel differently about different things. Let's not get onto politics, right? Because we all have different viewpoints on everything. And I think the point to really rest on is let's try and build each other up and build a community that's fair and encouraging.
Because when I saw the video which you sent, I commented immediately because one of our friends was on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Friend of the pod.
the friend of the pod. And do you know, it is disheartening. But rather than attacking or being horrible, I basically said, look, this person in the video, she's actually really good at paints, does all this. And I said, look, I use AI. And the comments were horrible. And I think this is what we want in the tattoo community. We want to talk, that's fine. There's always going to be internet trolls, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
But I think we need to react to this because it's all well and true, these people, but also at the same time, we need to do, be the right people to stand up and go, do you know what? Right? If it's a constructive comment, saying like AI, I don't agree with it, blah, blah, that's constructive, I guess.
Yeah.
But then saying like, shut the fuck up, you're an idiot, go die,
Yeah.
So obviously I don't want to bring up some horrible trauma or anything like that, but we need to come together as a community no matter what happens. We need to talk about these things more, which is why we made this podcast.
Yeah. We can have opinions, but there's a point where you can say, well, that's not kind. And some people just aren't kind, I guess. And that's the world we live in, and we have to accept that. But we're going to see more and more of it. I think that's
definitely.
We should just consider how we portray ourselves.
Definitely. But I'm glad I got you guys on. It's been brilliant speaking to you so far.
Can I add a response prior, if that's okay? Before we end this, can I add a response to what was? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, just non-combative, of course. So just to go off a few things that have been said. So you mentioned about Josh. You mentioned about some AI being so obviously AI, and you can tell from a mile off it's got an uncanny valley look to it. And I completely agree. Hence why it's used as a tool. So with my banner itself, when I found the image online, it had one hand normal, the other hand had two fingers. So I drew those fingers in myself, and that's me applicating the artistry into that, which as artists, that's what we should be doing to our designs anyway. Hence why I would see it as a tool. If I was to use it as a design, I wouldn't just grab that image, there you go, that's good to go. I'd have to implement it and change it and work it. There's something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was.
I'm just going to make a point that imagine who wants you tattooed on their body in a robe. Like, do you know what I mean? You never know.
Another thing that I thought of.
Let's go.
with you saying about there's a culture in tattoos at the minute. I think the tattoo industry at the minute thrives off of cancel culture at the minute. And I think the reason why that is because we live in such a snappy attention society where the things that get your attention so fast is controversy and negativity. Unfortunately, whether I agree with it or not, that is literally why it is. I think that's why the video blew up so much, because it was controversial and people are like, oh my God, he's calling people out. Good for him. And then they jumped on the bandwagon. And then I saw on my Instagram so many people who I followed, they started doing this fuck AI stories trend, which that's cool. But I saw so many realism artists who were doing it, but then used AI references in their work. And I called them out, and nine out of 10 of them said, no, I completely agree. Like, AI is terrible unless you use it for a photo reference. To which I had my backup being like, well, you're either with it or you're against it, because I've received hate for the past week straight because I used AI in a banner for conventions. So if you're against it, be against it. If you're not, don't be. I felt very victimized, being like, oh, well, I've used AI in a banner and everyone's hating on me. Like, what do I do now? But this is why I wanted to be on this podcast, to voice my opinion. I agree, don't use AI as a replacement. Don't use it for your art. Use it as a tool. Use it to progress. Like you mentioned, Brandon, like, fuck you for being so good at tattooing 4 years in. It's because I'm passionate about it. I'm not taking shortcuts. I genuinely care about my work. Like, AI isn't a shortcut for me. It's a way for me to progress and get better and give myself an edge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I said, like, your stuff's great, and again, like the changing of the banner, it is just the thing that it's still, because AI still is in that, it's still in a baby stage. It still has that hue, and you can just see it. And I think it automatic, even though you put a lot of effort in it, and I've seen the post, I've seen that you put the effort into it. But the issue is, because the baseline of that banner is AI. Like, I'm sure you recognise it on the background. If you zoom in, none of it makes any sense. And I think that is the big issue, is that you put effort into it because you were changing it around, but it still had that look to it. So I, unfortunately, painted everyone with the same brush, sort of thing. And again, like, hindsight, I wouldn't do that again. I'm still going to talk about, like, in random videos, mention a little bit of AI. Oh, I don't like AI, but I'm not going to specifically show things, because obviously, it feels like other people went way further than I would have. I deleted quite a few comments. And in hindsight, I should have just deleted the video after I saw someone tag everyone and saying, everyone go comment on their videos. I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, I didn't even think about the fact that these banners, like, would make people go to places, because again, I assumed it was going to be me and my mates at the shop, and a few people I know would be like, oh, that's a bit shit. But instead, it was a bunch of people kicking off. And in hindsight, and in the future, if anything happens like that again, I'll be like, tear that down. Because a lot of people said, oh, you're just clout chasing, you're trying to get views. I'm like, I don't care about views. I really don't, unless it's getting me bookings. Like, it was interesting, and I've gained a lot of like tattoo artist followers from the video who were like on the side of not AI. But I've got like 40,000 followers or something on Instagram, and like 98% of them are in America, so they mean nothing. It's like, it's word of mouth is still a big thing, and I think the views didn't matter.
But you were also victimized in this, weren't you? Well, as much as, Brandon and the video, and it got to him, you also got the backlash of this, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I think someone said to me, they said they don't really agree with what I did, but they appreciate I didn't do it from a burner account because I took the flack myself. And I did get a few messages. I had someone who basically was calling me like a predator, like against women and all that sort of stuff, because of the video, and posting, like, I did a stupid little like, do you know when you put like a filter on and then you pretend to be some creepy dude who sees a woman with tattoos? She took that, cut out the caption, and said, this is the guy, this is what he says to women, but then didn't she also linked it still, so other people saw it and then messaged me, but like, "Yo, this lady's trying to
using technology, which is a fake thing, and then making something of it, and I totally get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, and I guess it's kind of an irony in there using a face filter on my video. Well, that sort of thing.
It's kind of ironic. I think
You know what
the
is
truth is,
ironic? Actually, I realised what pillow I'm sitting on. My dad bought me this that pillow,
perfect.
and
It's
I totally
everywhere.
forgot it. I forgot it even existed.
It is everywhere. The truth of this is we're not going to resolve this, and we never could with this call.
No.
You couldn't with your video, Brandon. You couldn't with any response that you've given. There's no way of resolving the question, because some people are going to be for it, some people are going to be against it, some people are going to come somewhere in the middle. But I love that we're able to have this conversation and speak respectfully to each other, which, like, I think that's kind of what we've landed on, isn't it? That the important thing is respecting each other and finding a way to coexist in a community where there are. I mean, we all do different styles of art to begin with.
I think a massive part of it goes back to almost traditional versus realism a little bit, I think, and the reason for that is, for example, Gods of Ink this weekend, the biggest convention, and it's got the best artists of the world. Two out of the three winners for realism won with an AI generated image. And when I posted my explanation for the banner, I had real big artists message me being like, "Fucking fair play, like support you, like you do you thing," because they were realism artists and they were in the same boat, and that's why. Initially, the video really offended me. I was like, why have I even been included? This is like, what the hell? And then I got loads of support from realism artists, and I was like, well, these people, their opinion cares. I care more about their opinion because these are the people that I look up to.
Yeah,
So,
same boat. That's exactly what happened with me. All the followers I've got, I gained, I think, about 1,500 followers from the video, and they were basically all tattoo artists, and almost every single one was someone who hand draws everything and does traditional. And like, I can appreciate realism and color realism and that. It's never been something I've liked myself, but I can appreciate how much talent it takes and how much effort it takes. But I think a lot of people, like you said, it goes back to trad versus realism. It goes back to that same sort of boat. And I think a lot of people misconstrued me as a person as someone who'd be like, "Oh, I hate these people." But literally my only thought was, this is a bit shit. I'll put it on my TikTok and my Instagram. And that was it. And then I think people thought, actually, one of the people who was very angry at me, very, very angry, like she sent about, sent about 14 messages. I don't want to mention which person it was. But then the day after, they said, "Hey, me again. I apologise for the way I acted. I understand it wasn't aimed directly at me. It was aimed at as a whole. And I'm sorry the way I acted." And I said, "You don't need to be sorry. I understand that you've got upset by it, because at the end of the day, you've seen something that's yours on there and you've got upset by it, which is completely fair. I don't agree with what you did in rebuttal to that, because if it's arguably worse. But I says, I'm not going to be angry at you for that. You people acting in anger, in shock, and all that sort of stuff." And that's exactly what my video was as well. I put it up there because I was a bit peeved. And as I said, hindsight, I won't be talking about specific people. I won't be saying specific things or putting things in my things. I'll just be mentioning, "Oh, not very good, that." That's about it. I think calming down a little bit.
This is beautiful, because where we're ending here is that's mature response, right? Like we can all say, okay, because I do it all the time in every area of my life. I act out of upset or hurt or tiredness or whatever. What makes us better people is to be able to go, actually, fair play, I was out of line there, or whatever. Let's move forward and build on that. And I think that's that's really what we get, isn't it? We want a community that's fun to be in.
Talking makes
you
it
grow from mistakes. You grow from mistakes.
Talking makes it hurt, Sorry?
I think. Sorry, go on.
No, you were speaking.
Oh, so I don't think we, as a community, as a tattoo industry, will ever agree on whether you can or whether you can't use AI. I think we'll always disagree, but I think it's also good to know that we are all entitled to our own opinions, and people
Yeah.
shouldn't be shot down for that opinion. My
Yeah.
opinion is it's good for photorealistic references,
Mhm.
and I will die on that hill. Whereas Josh may think, no, you can't use that, and that's absolutely fine as long as we're not fist fighting about it in the car park.
Yeah. I can't fight, so.
I mean, look at
I
the
can.
first episode of our podcast. Lyndon made fun of the jacket I was wearing. We're not going to like everything we see. But-
Exactly.
Well, one of you can throw paintbrushes, the one can throw computers. We'll see which one wins.
Depends how sharp
I
the
can
paintbrushes are.
draw.
Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks everyone for watching. I think it's a really interesting conversation. I'm sure it'll continue
Yes,
as time goes by.
and we'll probably see these guys on the podcast in the
I
future.
hope so. It's been great chatting with you guys.
Yes.
Been a
Well,
pleasure.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much.
And I just want to say as well, just at the end, I am sorry for making the video. I feel bad that it set you and it set other people, and I do feel bad about it.
I don't think you need to apologize to me because I did use AI in my banner. I think people do deserve an apology. For example, I hope this doesn't go in the actual video because I don't want to mention names, but she's drawn hers from scratch and she's got a time lapse of her drawing it as well.
Yes,
She
which
was
we know.
included in the banner, and I think it's very, very bad that she was included when it wasn't AI. So
Yeah.
I think she deserves an apology, but everyone else, we did use AI, so
Yeah.
you don't need to apologize on that. Whereas I was included, and I stand on that hill. Whereas if it's readily available to me on the internet, I'm going to use it. I'm not out here generating images. I'm finding images online that have already been generated but work to my needs.
Yeah. Well, I'm more just apologising the way it was done. I
Well, I
fully
appreciate your
stand by it,
apology.
but I apologise for you being upset by it and the one girl who went home. That's not a good thing. And I'm not like, yeah, screw those people. It's just like I stand for the principle, but not the way I did it. If that makes any sense. And you seem
I
like a
appreciate
lovely
your
dude, and
apology.
your stuff's 6 months.
Thank you. Says yours.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I had a thought when one of you guys was speaking about art itself, not just tattooing, but art in general. And over the years, almost every movement of art has originally been rejected by the traditional artists. So when Impressionism came along, and we were joking before the call about Van Gogh, however you pronounce it. But when him and his ilk came along, the traditional painters rejected it. So this isn't art. Or
It's the
you've
same with
got,
photography. Photography got shunned at the beginning because people thought it would replace paintings, and now we use photography as references.
and if we're coming back to
People said
tattooing,
digital art wasn't art because it wasn't made with their hands, and now digital art is what we use in tattoos.
when realism tattooing came along, there were people who were saying, well, this isn't tattooing, it doesn't look like a tattoo. So we just have to be aware that there are different opinions. People are going to come up with new things, change ideas, and we're part of that world. And we can either accept it or we can reject it, but it's happening.
Well,
Exactly.
actually, I think, and this is just, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I think our customers dictate the fashion statements, what's actually popular.
100%.
And
100%.
I'm not, I'm not being horrible here when I say this, but like fine line's quite new. I mean, we've used bug-bee needles for years. But that's and a lot of people are like, rubbish. And don't get me wrong, I said it. I said it with rotary pens, I said it with everything. And now I tattoo with a rotary pen and fine line. So we need to do these things because at the end of the day, it's money. We need to live our lives. Obviously, if you're a traditional artist, like God bless you, because that style is so niche now. I feel like only certain people get trapped, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Not everyone likes it.
To be honest, I think it's niche, but the people who want it. But also, I am being kind of labelled as a trad artist, but I probably do more fine line dot work than trad. It's just I don't post as much because I have.
We post what we want to do, right?
Yeah, I love both. Give me a 14 round liner, hell yeah. Give me a Type 3, hell yeah. Love a Type 3 on the ribs because I'm a weirdo. It's just like really satisfying time. But like, Give me a black and
Wow.
grey piece. I'm shitting myself, terrified.
Sadist.
Did one portrait of a dog, wanted to die.
I'm very similar in the fact that I'd say most known for my realism work, but I love to do neo-traditional. I love
Yeah.
to do full color. I've done full color realism portraits, and I did a neo-traditional piece yesterday where I hand drew the flower from scratch from my brain, took a time lapse just in case anyone wanted to come for me, and I've got that prepared to post with it. But like, I love to draw, and people think, oh, he's a realism artist, he'll just take references. But like, when I was 15, my artwork went into Birmingham Exhibition Gallery. I'm an artist first.
Yeah. Well, what you find is a lot of the time, the best realism, the best colorism are good at drawing. And as I said, that's one of the issues with the poster, because I didn't think to look at even what you were doing, because I was like, it'll be shit, just because I saw an AI poster.
Yeah.
And again, painting people with the same brush, it's a issue on my side, but that is what people do, and a lot of people agreed. Like, so many more than didn't. And I think when it comes to your designs, use those references, but I just feel like your poster could be better with something that doesn't have that in, because you might just get those people.
What would you recommend as a poster? And the
I
only
just
reason
think
why I
that
asked this,
genuinely, the picture of you just in your robe, that's great.
I don't think
I also
that
disagree.
represents me well.
Yeah.
So
Even
I
just
think,
Karen, there you go.
this is how it should be, and this is the honest truth. Name an actual finished tattoo of your work. Simple, because like, I get it. People want to do some crazy shit with their banners. It gets them. I've seen a guy draw on a piece of paper because he forgot his banner. Do you know what I mean? So
I love
like,
when people do that. I saw someone on a pizza box.
but I totally get from your point of view. I've seen, like, a collective of tattooists from, I can't remember what they were called, but they had this horrible ornate frame with a tiny pictures of their work, and it looked crap. So I was like, when I see people with giant pictures of the work or crazy faces or hand-drawn banners, I love that. I personally don't like fabric banners. I think it's gross because you're taking it to a convention right next to it, and the blood and stuff is getting on it. That's gross. Mine's
But it was
washable.
carpet at the convention.
Yeah, that's even gross.
Do you hand wash it or do you put it in the washing machine?
I suppose you're not rubbing your customers on it.
We've gone circular there. Look, guys, let's wrap this up. There's a lot of really interesting points there. I think one of the most interesting things is everybody learning to go, oh, that's an interesting point from everybody else. We can have a discussion about it. And if we can stay respectful, and this obviously goes out to everyone that's watching this, let's all just be respectful and kind to each other, because it's not a very nice world out there sometimes. And it's nice to support each other, help each other along. Constructive stuff is better than destructive stuff, and hopefully we can have some more conversations about this with this sort of format where everyone's nice to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or constructive.
Constructive, exactly. Yeah. So thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me, Lyndon.
Yes, thank you.
And I thank myself for joining you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you.
Thank
have
you.
a great night, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See
Thanks
you
for having
later.
us.
Bye.
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 Bye.